All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Spencer. And of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz. It's him. And this is the Different Spectrums podcast.
It is?
Surprisingly. We talk about movies and shows and the mental health aspects
The mental hat?
surrounding the hats, the mental hats. We also have some laughs, so don't take us too seriously here. I don't know what the hell that was. All right. Of course, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. And so with that, today, we are taking a look at two scenes from the movie Rocky. Rocky number 1, the first one.
This is Rocky number 1, and this is also take 1.
Yes. Well, technically take 2, but we're not going to get into that.
It's definitely take 2.
We're not going to get into that.
We can't get into it. I fucked it all up, everyone. I'm a terrible person. I don't deserve to live.
Here we go. Oh my God. All right. So for the first scene that we're going to watch, it's where Rocky goes into the promoter's office, and he's told that he's going to fight Apollo Creed. Almost forgot his name. He's about to. Yes. Yeah, there's none of those in Philly. So in this scene, he's a little bit more on the scared side, right? Because this is all new for him. He's not really been in, offices. He's always on the street level of things, right? So we have that. And then the second scene, it's where Mick goes and asks him if Mick can be Rocky's promoter. And doesn't go as planned, as Mick wanted it to. Well, I guess it did at the end.
Yeah.
But it didn't at first.
It just didn't smell good, him asking to be his manager. It stinks.
It stinks in here. It stinks. It's like, damn, this smells like straight asshole in there.
I was like, is that my girlfriend talking to me again?
Oh my God. It stinks. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at the. We're gonna take a look at those scenes and see how it goes. Nazir, anything before we get into the clip?
I took a shower today, feeling good.
Yeah, it doesn't stink. Yay.
So I told Spence right before this, today's kind of a big day. February 6th, 2022. This is our anniversary when we actually started the Gmail and the YouTube and all that. So this is the day. Well, what do they call it this is the birthday, the birthing of us?
Oh God! If we came out of the womb like that, oof, oof.
Here's Johnny.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, super exciting. So I'll show a clip of that before we get into the real thing. But it's kind of cool to know that we've been kind of grinding at this for a year now, and it's like legit official. I think we didn't start posting videos until March, but still, it's pretty cool.
There.
So please subscribe to the page. We appreciate all the new followers in the last few days. We're doing some short. Wow. We're recently doing some shorts on YouTube. It's
not easy, is it?
Yeah.
No.
So it's really exciting time to be live on a Different Spectrums podcast. We appreciate our subscribers. We also appreciate our donations. So people, please help us out. We already got a few folks that are subscribed to us on the podcast side. So know that is the thing that you can do to help us subsidize and offset some of the spendings and the things that me and Spencer are doing to try and create better material and all the human hours we put in this. So we appreciate those that you've already contributed. And I just want to shout that out. Let's get into the scene. Let's check it out. Let's get it done.
Whoop, whoop.
Woody whoop. Mine was better.
Yes. May I help you? Oh, you must be Mr. Rocky Balboa. Mr. Jurgen's expecting you. Just a moment. Mr. Rocky Balboa to see you, sir. Fine. Will you please go in, Mr. Balboa?
Can I have that?
Oh, certainly.
Thanks.
Mr. Balboa. How are you? George Jerkins. Take a chair, please.
Thanks.
Mr. Balboa.
Call me Rocky.
Rocky. Tell me, Rocky, you got any representation? You have a manager?
No, just me.
Rocky, I've got a proposition I'd like to make to you.
A sparring?
Beg your pardon?
Well, I just said I know you're looking for sparring partners, and I just want to say I'm very available, you know.
Sure you are.
Absolutely. Sparring with the champ would be an honor, and you know what, Mr. Jerkins?
What?
I wouldn't take no cheap shots either. I'd really be a good sparring partner, you know.
You don't understand me, Rocky. My proposition's this. Would you be interested in fighting Apollo Creed for the World Heavyweight Championship?
No.
Listen, Rocky. Apollo's seen you fight. He likes you. He wants to fight you.
Well, it's just that you see, I fight in clubs, you know, and I'm really a ham and egg. This guy, he's the best, and it wouldn't be such a good fight. But thank you very much, you know. I appreciate it. You know.
Rocky, do you believe that America is the land of opportunity?
Yeah.
Apollo Creed does. And he's gonna prove it to the whole world by giving an unknown a shot at the title. And that unknown is you. He picked you, Rocky. Rocky, it's the chance of a lifetime. You can't pass it by. What do you say?
But I never had no management. That's the trouble. But now I got all this knowledge. I got it up here, and I want to give it to you. I want to give you this knowledge. I want to take care of you. I want to make sure that all this shit that happened to me doesn't happen to you. You know what I mean?
If the fight's set.
Listen to me. I want to be your manager. You follow that, do you?
Fight's set. I don't need no manager.
But you can't buy what I'm going to give you. I mean, I've got pain and I've got experience.
No, I got pain. I got experience, too.
Now, listen, kid.
Hey, look,
Just
hey,
before-
Mick.
What?
Look, I need your help about 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago?
Right.
You never helped me. You didn't care.
Well, if you wanted help. I say, if you wanted help, why didn't you ask? Why didn't you just ask me, kid?
Look, I asked, but you never heard nothing.
Well, I'm 76 years old. And,
Took you long enough to get here. You 10 years to come to my house. Huh? What's the matter? You don't like my house? My house stink? That's right, it stinks! I ain't asked no favors from you. Don't fall around me. Talk about your prime. What about my prime, Mick? At least you had a prime. I ain't had no prime. I ain't had nothing. Legs are going, everything is going. No one's getting enough nothing. Guy comes up, offers me a fight. Big deal. Want to fight the fight? Yeah, I'll fight the big fight. I wouldn't want to fight that big fight. It was gonna happen to me. I want to get that. I want to get that. And you want to be ringside and see it? Do you? You want to help me out? Huh? Do you want to see me get my face kicked in? Legs ain't working. Nothing's working. They go on, fight the champ. Yeah, I'll fight him. My face kicked in. And you come around here, you want to move in here with me? Come on here, it's a nice house. Real nice, come on in and move. It stinks. This whole place stinks.
All right. Welcome back. Hey, everybody. Hit that subscribe button. Hit it down below.
Down
Help
below.
us a lot.
In
And
the
we
nethers.
appreciate it a lot.
Down below. No reason.
So I'd like to say this is the first time we did these clips. I would love to say that. But no, it isn't. Say about a week ago, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, a week ago.
No, it was Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Friday. So it wasn't that long ago. We recorded a whole episode for these two scenes. And
It's a good talk.
somebody forgot to hit the record button. I'm not gonna name names. There's only two people in this scenario.
Was it
Wasn't me.
Mando?
The all helmet, no body, Amanda.
That's what I look like on the podcast, just a floating head.
Yeah, very similar. It's very scary. All right. But yeah, so we're
Take
gonna
two.
break this down and we'll see how it goes.
One more time around the circle.
One more again. Yep. That's the guy that needs to press the button. Yep.
It's pressed. I can press it again. It'll stop the recording.
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good this time.
Let's get into it. Stop wasting time.
All right. Jesus Christ.
I'm joking.
All right. So a little bit of background on Rocky. It's about not really. He's not even an up-and-comer. He was like a never was pretty much in Philadelphia. And he's a loan shark, but he also boxes on the side. And throughout his whole career, he's just not done anything really. He's just fought in, small fights, things like that. And one day, Apollo Creed, the heavyweight champion, says, I want to fight somebody on the 4th of July, and I want it to be special. So the promoter in the scene where he says like, oh yeah, Apollo's seen you fight and all that. He's never seen him fight at all. He literally read a piece of paper that said the Italian Stallion, and he was like, that sounds good. I'm gonna fight that guy. And and then the story goes on from there. And it's a story of Rocky almost winning. Not winning, but almost.
Yeah, it's the story of my life. Never winning.
Yeah. You got the chance, but you couldn't prove yourself. So
you couldn't do it. I shouldn't have ate that popcorn. It slipped right through my hands.
Longest yard reference. All right, here we go. And so for this scene, Rocky, who still is a loan shark, finally gets his chance to fight Apollo Creed for the heavyweight title. And you can really tell just by his body language that he's uncomfortable with the situation around him. Because
like me, anytime I'm around women, uncomfortable.
God. Shut up. Shut up.
Okay, I'm sorry.
God damn. Can't get through a sentence. You go, remember that time I was stupid? Yes.
Okay.
Fuck. All right. God, not monetizing this fucking episode.
Yeah.
All right. So he's in the fucking office and he gets the fight. Motherfucker can't hit a record button, but you can definitely just stop the show in the middle of it.
I'm done.
I don't give a fuck. I'm done. What do you think of the scene?
You still had to intro the second scene.
No, we're doing that second. I'm not doing that right now. We're gonna talk about this scene and then we'll talk about the next one.
Okay, Jesus. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah.
Jesus. Actually, watching it the second time around, it hits a little bit different. Real talk. I didn't realize on how avoidant he was. I saw that he was insecure and didn't really want to do it and downplayed himself. But I didn't see that he didn't make much eye contact at all throughout the entire scene. He was even hesitant to move his head to look at him.
Yeah.
So that's an anxious individual, also very neurodivergent in some of those reactions.
Hmm.
I did not see that the first time. The first
Right.
time we recorded this, we talked a lot about self doubt, not trusting or believing in yourself, thinking that you're unworthy for the things that you kind of deserve. Technically, you didn't deserve that match, but it's neither here nor there. So it was a good scene that we'll break down about some of those other things that are going on. I think the thing
Hmm.
that stuck out is just how avoidant he was.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, I experienced both of those scenes differently today.
Yeah. I definitely think also for the promoter, he is just talking is what he needs to have Rocky into the fight, even though Rock knows that he'll get beat. Like, and I think that's what he really tries to avoid in this throughout the whole thing is just not being embarrassed. That's a really big thing for him is making sure that he doesn't look
Yeah.
like a fool. And that's why he says no at first, because he doesn't want to take a fight and lose. But it's not, I don't think it's just losing though. I think it's
I just want
more
to get
like,
pummeled.
yeah, just destroyed, and then nobody will look at him the same. There was a scene before this where there's a girl on the corner and she's talking like with all these like I guess hooligans, whatever, and he's like, no, you got, and then he starts walking her home and stuff and like trying to give her advice on what to do. So he's trying to be like a very positive influence on somebody, right? And then once he drops her off at the door, she's like, pervert. And then she like flips him off.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's, and then in that scene, you can really see like the embarrassment on his face, and he just
Mhm.
doesn't want that, especially
The shame.
around the whole city of Philadelphia watching you, and
Yep.
probably the world too, since it's going to be televised. Like, you know, he knows that. And we also talked about last time of how he was more of a street personality
Yep.
rather than being that corporate side of things. And that's where he's really uncomfortable because he's never been in this world before, like the corporate world. He's always been on, the street level and hasn't seen anything else. So he also doesn't want to act out or differently in any way, even though throughout the movie, that's like pretty much his personality is kind of like a shy guy.
Yep.
Right. And so, in the second scene that we watched, he's actually bringing out his personality in front of somebody, which is, is very different throughout the whole movie. Like, because he's always just kind of quiet and
Reserved.
a little bit more like mumbling and stuff. But then
Yep.
in that scene, he really kind of goes out of his way to really yell his feelings about what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Intense.
Stinks.
I experienced the manager, the white dude that was coming to Rocky, a little bit different too. I felt like he was much more of a sleazeball than when I first watched the scene. Like, look at this dude. He was just like all up in his face and like his crotch was
Right.
right in his head. Damn near. I was like, dude, back the up.
It's that power play.
Yeah, I know, for real. Like, he was like legit dominating him instead of like, hey man, this is a good opportunity. You could have hustled him into this much differently than what he did.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of sleazy too. It just felt gross.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm stereotyping, but it was like the slick back hair, the really nice suit. Then you got Rocco that's in there with like his leather jacket, hair's all messed
Right.
up. You know what I mean? Just he's a little bit more bummy.
Yeah. And I think that was probably the point that they were trying to get across, honestly.
The
Was
difference
just
of
that
the two
the
worlds.
difference, right? Yeah. And you can even see that with Apollo. Apollo was very
Big
much
money.
different. He's very cocky because he's, on top, and, he dresses very,
Very
slick
well.
with suit and tie and all that stuff. So, and he's a fast talker too. He
Yep.
knows how to talk up a fight.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, where
Yeah.
Rocco's just kind of like, I'm here,
Yeah.
I took the
I'm just
fight.
happy to be here.
I-
Champ is amazing. Champ is
the-
amazing.
And then like When they ask him questions, he's like, I don't know what the hell they say, and then they push him out the way.
Yeah.
And then you got Creed that just starts side talking him and then talking shit, and then Rocco's like, what is going on?
Yeah. He also was just like, you know what? If he can't fight, at least he can cook. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Uh,
brought up the Italian thing.
and you know what's interesting though is we still use these tropes, the
Yeah.
racism in boxing and MMA to today.
Mm.
Uh, if you look at, you know, when it's Mexican fighters versus white, Mexican versus black, we end up bringing up all this stuff. UFC, Conor McGregor does it all the time where he'll start digging into some of these tropes and he'll start talking trash. What's that other guy's name? That was getting way out there.
Diaz?
Well, he would be the one receiving all that stuff. And
Mm.
Sandoval, they'd be talking trash about him and using tropes. Connor did it again to a couple other guys. No, it was the
Ronda
other white
Rousey
dude.
kind of did it too.
There was the other white dude that was who was like the shit, but he just keeps getting beat by the Brazilian guy. Not
Can't
Usman.
remember.
Yeah, I think Usman or it's Irasanya. But yeah, he would use all this racist stuff, man. It's like that's not even part of his
Right.
personality. They're just doing it to sell tickets to promote. Because you hate one, you like one. Every fight, even in WWE, you need a heel to sell a fight. You
Right.
need a heel.
Well, and that's the thing, right? This is I mean, that's one of the oldest things about fighting has always been just talking trash. Muhammad Ali did it.
Yeah,
I believe with Joe Frazier. Well, he did with everybody, but Joe Frazier, he was really going at. I think he called him like a monkey or something like that, or like a gorilla. And you're like, well, huh.
yeah, it can get intense, real personal sometimes. The
Yeah,
good thing was at the end of that, they end up becoming
right,
like best friends. And when
right.
Joe died,
Yeah,
Muhammad Ali took care of his wife and his kids. So that was pretty cool of Joe's.
yeah. And I wonder, it's like, especially nowadays, a lot of news outlets really want that underdog, and I'm wondering if Rocky was like the catalyst of that. Um, of course, there have been underdogs throughout
Always,
history.
yeah.
You can go back to like Goliath and all that
Yeah.
stuff,
People love underdogs.
but
Yeah.
they do. But it's like with this, with sport, it's just like everybody wants that Rocky, that underdog, that nobody who then all of a sudden faces like a big challenge and wins, or, at least come close. Right. Um, and I just wonder if like Rocky was like the big catalyst for that, because that's one of the biggest ones, especially in like sports movies that I can really think of.
Yeah. That with
Right.
the old school ones would be that and something like maybe Rudy back in the day.
Rudy.
You
Yeah, but Rudy, that one, I guess I would go in the same thing, but his ass only got in for like 5 minutes in
yeah,
the
a couple
game.
plays. Yeah, but people are hyped up. So it's true what they said, you know, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Hmm.
So you can die a hero. So it's kind of like the Patriots. People might have
Right.
liked the Patriots back in the day. They kept winning, then you hate them. Kansas
Yeah.
City, they keep winning, now you hate them. It's
Right.
always like Golden State. You liked them when they were struggling. Maybe they won one title, and then now you hate them because it's just too much winning. And
Fair.
so a lot of us humans are not in that 1%, and we want to root for the other 99%
Yeah.
because we see
Um,
our reflection in those teams.
I agree. And then even like with the old school Bulls, it was the same way. Like a lot of people, not in Chicago, did not like the Bulls because they're like, they just keep winning.
You keep winning. I was a kid. I didn't know what was going on, so I was rooting for the Jazz. I also thought the colors were cool. I just
Oh
thought the
yeah, they
purple
did have
and
cool jerseys.
yeah, the
They did
jerseys
have
were
cool
cool, so I
jerseys.
liked those.
But then also what we talked about in the show last time was the fact that we find out that Rocky can't read.
Yeah,
Right? He has a learning disability, and that plays a huge part in this movie because you have a really fast talking guy. A lot of people with any type of learning disability, obviously, you need time to process certain
there's
things, and
stuff.
once you have somebody who's just like, well, we're about to do this fight and you should do it, come on, come on, come on, come on. Especially with like this promoter, it's hard to say no, really, because even though you feel like you can be embarrassed and it's not the best idea probably, um he's going to talk you into it because you don't really know any better. And
Yeah.
that's one I think we'll probably do Rocky 2 at some point, especially when he's, you know,
And we'll
he's
touch on
finally
that.
gets all these commercials and stuff,
Yep.
but then they find out like he can't read the cue cards. And then also with that, then you kind of get to see the relationship with Adrian and Rocky kind of grow, which is pretty cool too, in
Okay.
my opinion. So yeah.
So maybe I'll start therapizing some stuff, that scene now
Yeah.
that we brought up that.
Yeah.
So in this scene, you see a man that's very beat up, very humbled, very, I'm not good enough. I'm just going to be the sparring partner, and not making eye contact, very avoidant, seems very neurodivergent in his mannerisms, his tone of voice, lack of affect, lack of eye contact, his speech issues. So I assume, you know, some of my clients have speech issues with regulation of their voices or just speech impediments, Tourette's. And so he fits kind of like the prototype of someone with autism.
Right.
One of the prototypes, right? Obviously, it's a spectrum. But besides that, when you start looking at his affect and his confidence, right? He does, like you said, doesn't talk much. He's not a fast talker. He's not slick Willie, even though he's like from the streets. He's still not slick with it.
Right.
It reeks of insecurity, of sadness, of shame, of guilt,
Okay.
of regret. When he talks to Mick in the next scene that we'll break down, a lot of regret, a lot of self hate. You know, where's my prime? You know, I
Mhm.
suck. My body's failing. Everything's failing on me. And then you add in the learning disability issues. So a lot of folks have them. I have one as well,
Mhm.
with writing and reading and dyslexia. So it's a tough son of a bitch. Um, yeah, if those have follow us on the pod or Instagram, you know sometimes I mix up the words. And Spence knows just from my text messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah. You don't like the spaghetti and the sandwich meatball? Now let's clarify what you meant. Do you want to go for lunch later? Oh. But in there, man, I was talking to a student the other day. Having the inability to process things very quickly, very rapidly, to understand, to articulate yourself, very
Mhm.
tough. The inability to gain confidence in class and school, right? Everyone's reading at their academic level, their grade level, and they're like, you're slow and behind. It's
Mhm.
you end up hating yourself so much. Why am I different? I must be stupid. And you keep
Mhm.
hearing that you're stupid, getting bad grades in special education. You get behind, behind, behind. It's going to make it really hard to advance in school. It's going to make it really hard to love yourself, to be in healthy relationships. It could lead into more alcohol and drug usage.
Right.
Could lead you down more of a violent path, or like even selling drugs, the pipeline to prison. Uh, we didn't touch on this last time, but you know, if you look at the statistics for white individuals versus students of color,
Mhm.
you categorize everything like you equate everything with economic level. So not like rich kids versus poor kids. Like everyone's poor. Keep everything the same. Only thing that's it's white and black or brown. Teachers are the same. Everything's the same. The white kids will
Mhm.
continue to move on throughout school at the normal reading paces. The black and brown bodies will start to fail out mentally by fourth and fifth grade. Fourth and fifth
Mhm.
grade, they're checked out. They're no longer doing this thing,
Mhm.
which is really sad to know that a lot of us
Yeah.
check out in that age. I think I checked out probably in second grade. One of the things that can combat, there's many things that can combat it, but one of them that can combat it is having a brown or black teacher. That can
Right.
actually propel you to start doing better in your classes, and like you can see yourself in them. So it's one of the things that's really scary is, you know, Rocco's a white dude, but with this learning disability, it already starts to segregate you from the population.
Yeah.
And that perseverates in everything. You doubt everything, your choices, your decisions, your friends. And so you could see where Rocco could have been a stud of an athlete.
Mhm.
But since he didn't have this right path and some other things and growing up poor in Philly, learning disability, it reeks on him. And the choices of now being a loan shark and his body being blown out. If he had some better guidance, maybe better teaching, maybe more affluence and more money in the family, he could have got some teachers to help him out with his learning issues. He could have
Mhm.
got a trainer better than Mick earlier on. He could have been a stud. Still was a
Right.
stud.
Yeah.
And people will say that's, you know, equality because technically he still had the chance to make it. Yeah, but it's not equitable
Right.
because he was very lucky and it's a fictional character. He had to go through all this shit just to make it. Imagine if he just had a little bit of stuff to help him. So when students come to me, by the time they get to college, extremely anxious, extremely insecure, they can't trust their gut on anything or their choices, their decisions. They get gaslit very easy. Like you said, Spence, they get pushed into doing things that they don't want to do.
Right.
And so people can take advantage of them, right? I'm talking to a human recently and they're like, hey, I just realized that my friend was like, my best friend is terrible.
Mhm.
Like, damn, for real? I've been working with you for a long time now. You've never spoken about this. He said, I didn't realize it until they moved away. And I seen all the things that was going on and how they manipulated me and used me. And I read the thing that they posted, the thing. They tallied it up,
Yeah.
almost started crying. It was so bad.
Wow.
Like going and buying them things, going and getting
Mhm.
them coffees, rubbing their back and their knees, doing their homework for them in college. I was like, Jesus Christ, getting yelled at and berated and them being bullied.
Mhm.
And they said, you know what? I'm mad that I didn't see this sooner. I'm mad that I didn't bring it up to you. I said, you didn't know. How can you be mad at something you didn't know that was that bad? But
Right.
the signs were there. I said, if you would have known what you know right now, you would have broke it off sooner. But the confidence wasn't there. The respect for
Right.
themselves, they were desperate for friendship. And this person latched onto them and used them. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Rocco right now. It ends up working out because he becomes rich and famous. But like you
Right.
said, Spence, he's kind of getting used by this Slick Willie.
Yeah.
In the real world, this dude would have got his fate. He probably would have died in the ring.
Yeah.
In the real world. Um,
Damn
Very
near
rarely do you
close.
pick someone off the streets and then they're going to actually do well against the number one guy.
Yeah. Almost gonna win.
Yeah.
Um,
So that
yeah.
was me therapizing what was going on, how it relates to clients, autism, disabilities,
Right.
the pushing of your boundaries because you'll just accept things because you think this is what you deserve. And Rocco
Mhm.
deserves so much better. And thankfully, in this movie, in the trajectory, and with Adrian, he figures
Mhm.
out that he does deserve more.
Yeah. And I think with that, then, since we're talking about mentors, let's get into the next scene.
Let's do it.
So, um, so before the second scene happened, there was a fight between Mick and Rocky in the middle of the gym. Not really a fight, more of like an argument
Argument.
where, yeah, more where Mick or Rocky says like, "Hey, like, why don't you respect me? Why don't you train me? Like, what's the deal here?" And Mick is just like, "You're a bum. You you're just a loan shark. You're not really in it to win the fights
Yeah.
because you just got lazy and all that stuff." Calls him out in front of everybody in the gym. And this was before Rocky found out that he was going to actually fight Apollo. And then afterwards, Mick comes in and he's kind of pleading with him to be his like manager, right? Even though the fight's already set and all that. Yeah, it's a great scene to show just how,
Intense.
yeah, it like it really shows how things can change once you have a little bit of fame, just a little bit, right? And how people are just trying to latch onto you, even though they didn't see anything in you before. Um, I really related to Rocky in this scene, especially where it's just where he's yelling. Even though beforehand, when Mick was in the room, he was kind of just talking to him, be like, "You didn't help me before. Like I needed you back in the day, but now you just want to be part of what I'm doing."
Where are you? Where
Hmm.
were you?
Yeah. And so I really related to Rock because um, I've had those moments where somebody's like right there in the room with you and you kind of soft spoken, but then once they leave, you just kind of thinking things over and you're like, what about what I wanted? What about my prime? You didn't see anything before, and now you finally do. I see. So really love the scene.
Yep.
Also with Mick, we've talked about it before, but with Mick, you can just see like he's just trying everything to really get Rock on his side to really get him as a manager, so that then he can finally have that winner in his
He's
corner.
manipulating him so hard. You need a manager. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Look at this. This is when I was young in my prime.
Yeah.
Like,
but I ain't had no manager.
It's like, what does that have to do with it? You getting your face punched in with nails?
Yeah.
No sense.
Jesus, Mick. I didn't realize how much I hated him until I seen these scenes, because you end up liking him later, but he's still kind of a shithead. Jeez.
Yeah. And that was one of the things also later on in the movie is that Mick tells Rocky that he can't be seeing Adrian.
Yep.
Because it's a distraction.
Makes
you
his
don't want
legs
to have a
weak.
distraction.
Yeah.
Yes, make your leg weak. It's like, all right. And of course, he keeps on seeing her because that's like his support system, right?
Yeah.
He needs her. He needs her watching and just kind of cheering him on, because that's his confidence right there. Even though she doesn't really have any confidence, until Rock kind of brings it out of her. And he's like, you need to stand up for yourself. Your brother's a dick.
Yep.
But yeah,
sometimes you
what'd
need
think about
someone
the
to
scene?
point it out for you to recognize that it's actually toxic.
True. Very true.
The human that I just spoke of said they didn't realize it until they seen them treat their roommate like trash and made them cry. And then when they walked away, they looked at my student and they said, that's how it's done. Like, are you proud that you just devastated someone for no reason? I'm like, you're a psychopath.
Yeah, that sounds a little cray-cray. Not gonna lie.
Bro, that's a personality disorder. That's sociopathy. They enjoyed hurting people. Yeah, it was a very long discussion on how we are setting a boundary and cutting that person off. Yes.
Never talking to them again.
No, never. Yeah, we strategize the conversations, the texts, the rebuttals that are going to happen, and then how they'll handle those. And then also, if they threaten something, then we will call the police and they will handle it. So in my office, we handle everything. And I said, they are going to be devastated when they get the email that me and you typed up. And they said, I don't want to hurt them like that. I said, you're not going to hurt them. You're going to put them in their place.
Yeah.
And they're not going to like it. They're going to throw a tantrum. Big difference. But it feels weird when people that get their boundaries pushed, neurodivergent people, anxious people, insecure people, when they stand up for themselves, don't feel right. Don't feel right. So there's a lot of complex emotions because we don't want to hurt nobody. So this scene, watching it the second time now, technically the third time, because we watched it once just to figure out what we wanted, and then we watched it last week to record it. Damn, dude, I got goosebumps this time. I don't know why. I was like just vibing out. Last time I was watching it to pick out things, and I wasn't really watching it. I was trying to pick out things.
Right.
This time I feel like I was just vibing and just watching it just like a normal movie, just kind of like how I watched Jurassic Park the other day. And I wasn't necessarily like looking for things. I was just like enjoying it. Technically not enjoying it.
Not a big fan of the new Jurassic Park, huh?
Dominion was weird. It was just too many things going on. I'm like, this franchise is done. This needs to be done. Yeah.
It's never going to be done.
The only thing you can do now is just like a petting zoo. Other than that, leave it alone.
They invested too much, too many rides. They need the movie.
I know they need it. But I legit got goosebumps, dude. And I guess maybe that's because I listened to some arguing. The last few days, right? I've had some clients like talking about some stuff. And so I've been engaged in some yelling. And then I watched that Stephen A. Smith thing today because today's February 6th. There's a lot of toxic yelling and I could feel my heart rate and my tension going up, right? I was like, it was, it was kind of triggering.
Right.
And so then I seen this scene, goosebumps immediately because his temperament. And then I also kind of felt like crying too. I was getting like choked up because there's just so much pain in Rocco. There's so much sadness. By pain, I mean sadness. I mean depression. I mean a complete isolation, loneliness. He's living in a crap house, crap life, no respect. Kid calls him a pedo. Like,
Yeah.
Your
pretty much.
the gym guy says you're a piece of shit. Get out of my gym. You're a loan shark. That's just you're not even a loan shark. You're the guy, the muscle for the loan shark.
Right.
There was so much sadness. That was actually really like me and you talked about. That was actually pretty good acting in that scene. Very good
Mhm.
acting.
Surprisingly, like, yeah, he does great acting.
That was really the emotion. Is you want to see me get my head kicked in? Huh? You want front row to watch me die out there? Where are you? My body's failing me. My mind's failing me. I can hear my students. No one loves me.
Hmm.
No one talked to me. I finally meet someone and they hurt me. What's the point now? Fuck it. I might as well kill myself. That's what Rocco was saying. He's like, you want a front row seat of watching me die? You're sick.
Hmm.
You're sick for wanting to watch this.
Right.
I've had students, yell that in my office, that same gist. They were screaming at me. It's like, damn. So, very intense scene. Obviously,
Mhm.
it turns after he walks out, Mick, and he's like, hey, shakes hands. Me and you made
Yeah.
fun of like how Mick was like, oh shit, you about to whip my ass?
He about to punch me in the face. So fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he
You
didn't
got a
kill.
nail in your thumb?
Oh, Jesus. Tech. Yeah, I mean, I'd be scared too if the dude just got done cussing me out for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Also with that with Rock, his realization that he actually does need Mick is so fast. Like I don't think it would have hit me. I would have been in my emotions
It's way too
so
fast.
far. He wouldn't have been down the street. He would have been at home sleeping. I'd be like, hey,
It would have been the
hey,
next day or something. Like, hey, bro,
yeah, hey man, can we actually like
remember that
link
time I
up?
tried to murder you in my house?
Remember the time you were in my stinky ass house?
Jesus. Remember that time I pulled that knife out on you? I ain't mean that shit,
Oh,
bro. I ain't mean that shit, bro.
Jesus.
Come on, bro. Come on. But you're right. That's a good
Man.
point. There's no way someone's de-escalating from 150 to 0. There's no way.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive for somebody, especially that needs more time to process anything. Where he's just like, ah, fuck, I gotta go down there.
Devil's advocate. I think the only way that could happen is when you're not actually mad at Mick, you're mad at yourself and the world. Then maybe you
Hmm.
can bring it down because it's really not about Mick, it's about you. Because that whole time he was yelling, it was mostly about him.
Right,
He was mad at Mick too for like not being there and not reaching out. But that could be
right.
the only way where you could, because if you actually hate that person in that moment, you're not backing down. If it's more
Hmm.
self-directed anger, but it's being projected onto them, maybe you can come down.
Hmm.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe Rocco was like, fuck man, I am about to die in this ring. Maybe I do need this guy. Like,
Yeah. Please let me run after chickens because I can't do this.
oh
Can't
yeah, we're definitely doing a reel on that scene. So
fucking running with chickens.
you're right, it was quick.
Also, it's this movie is just I do love the underdog story, but I love the fact that they mixed in like a love story, but it wasn't like overpowering, right? It wasn't
Yep.
an overpowering thing. It was part of the story, which is great. And then actually, once you read about what went into like Rocky, about how Sylvester Stallone was like broke and was about to
Oh
sell
yeah,
his
talk about
dog,
that.
which is in the movie, like the same dog he was about to sell is in the movie, and how he was like, yes, I'll give you my screenplay as long as I play the main character, because they had like a bunch of different famous actors that might have played him. And yeah, and just how the underdog story in this is how I think that's how he really um played this role, was because it felt so personable to him.
Yes. There was
um
real emotions.
yeah,
It
for
wasn't
sure,
no fake
for
stuff. It
sure.
wasn't no like get stung by a bee and then, swell up with your eyes. Like it was it was real. This actually meant something. This is a story of his comeuppance.
Mm-hmm. It
Yep.
is, it is.
Yeah. If I was Rocco,
Mm-hmm.
I've been where he's been at one time. where I blew up. So this was this is such a small thing, but right. I mean, folks know on the pod, right? I'm a big boy, played collegiate ball. High school, I went to a really good high school. It's in the playoffs all the time. Coaches were like in Super Bowls and stuff like that. This was like a legit school in Michigan. And so I remember we was on the JV team. So this is like 10th grade. 10th grade. And our coach loved our coach. Right, this is a very, very, very poor team called Lansing Sexton in Michigan. Very poor, right by the Capitol. And so our coach, which I love, he gave me a ton of mentorship and guidance. You know, he had to sit out. He was sick or something happened. He couldn't come to the game, maybe 2 games. Something happened with him and the head coach too, and they made him take something happened. They made him take like a week off. So they had this other dude take over. So okay, he was kind of different. You know, it's just I didn't really enjoy him. I thought he was kind of fake. He was talking trash about the other coach, and like I'm like, damn man, I kind of love this other coach, man. Like this is my guy.
Right.
And then we go play the game. And we actually do really, really well. And I do really well. And he says, see, we don't even need that coach. I lost my shit. The head coach for the senior team called me. He was like, bro, what is going on? I'm like, no, man, fuck that guy. Piece of shit talking about a coach. This ain't got nothing to do with you, man. This is us. The underdog team. I literally lost it, swore up and down. I went bananas on the field after the game because it was so disrespectful. And this coach, Coach Coop, everyone loved this guy, man. I mean, this was a player's coach. And you're talking about the poverty of the poverty.
Yeah.
So someone that shows you love, you'll die for this person.
Right.
And then to trash talk him, I couldn't take it. And I blew up like my dad, Sam Zerker, blow up. You don't mess with people I love. You don't mess with people that invest in me and that love me, that love my teammate, my best friend. I'm not going to put up with it. And so I remember blowing up just like Rocco did on Mick. For real? Who are you? Where were you when we were grinding and losing all the games? Now that we're doing good, you're going to take credit? Nah, bro. That ain't how it worked. And right, who am I? I'm some 15-year-old. Well, I'm still 6'2", 320 pounds. So
big old 15-year-old. Like,
yeah,
yes,
I'm a big old 15-year-old. Yeah, a running back had like the receding hairline way back to here and a full beard.
Jesus.
I had a full beard. Yeah, we were an old team. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember blowing up like that, man. And like, maybe I hated that guy for the derogatory things that he said. I wasn't backing down from that. Rocco didn't really hate that guy. I mean, he was some discontent, but it can be intense to come down from that anger, boy, especially if there's some legit hostility. But the scene itself is more focused on not wanting to be embarrassed, shame for being where you're at in life, resentment for not getting the help or support that he needed 10 years ago when he asked for it. Mick said, why didn't you tell me? I asked you, you son of a bitch. Where were you with the other guys? I asked you.
Why didn't you just ask me? You didn't listen.
Actually,
why else?
Real talk.
Yeah.
They say men don't reach out. A lot of us actually do reach out, bro. And when we finally do like break open things, the door, just a little bit of pinch, people like, they push it to the side. If it's your best friends, they'll probably clown you and call you a punk. But then they might actually talk to you. But a lot of people will shut it down or they won't actually continue to let you like grow. Not saying that's with everyone, but it does happen where men will kind of like expose themselves to be a little bit vulnerable. Boom, hated on.
Right.
And so I feel like that's kind of what happened with Rocco. He's finally vulnerable, and then you shit on him. And now you come to me when I'm gonna maybe make some money. It's tough to swallow, bro. I don't know if I could have had Mick as my thing. The only way I could have did it is if I knew that he was a good coach and he can at least get me to not get my shit kicked in.
Yeah, and he does, but then also you have to like think about who else has he turned away like that? Like it's not just Rock. Like
hopefully it was others.
Right? And like you said, it really goes into your mentors and who you trust to help you develop as a young person. Because
Yeah.
if you don't have the right person, or if you don't have anybody, because all Rock had was like the guy he worked for, the loan shark guy, right? And he was
That's it.
probably he was always like cool with him, nice with him, gave him money so that and then like was like, hey man, you shouldn't be smoking and all that stuff after he found out he could fight. And so he has all these people that aren't really the best influences, but they are kind of looking out for him
Yeah.
in a way. In a way. And then you have Mick, who, is this top level coach. And then he finally gives him a chance to, learn from him. And you would think it'd just be a little bit too late. And it kind of was in a way.
Kind of was, but
Because
he still
let's
had
be
it.
honest, Rocky could have been the guy to be the heavyweight champion. He could have been that way before Apollo Creed even showed up.
Could have. Because if he would have actually got some footwork and some head movement,
Yeah.
if we're being honest, Rocky was a real person like right now, his
Mhm.
CTE would be so bad when he retired that he would. I'm
He,
not going to make the joke that I want to make, but he would be hurting himself and others
yes,
because of the
he would.
CTE. They were getting pummeled like that continuously over and over. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with a lot of these UFC guys right now.
Mhm.
It's just horrific bipolar like symptoms and CTE. They actually said that the UFC, they're sponsoring that slap federation thing. They
Mhm.
said it's literally legalized concussions. It's literally a CTE factory because every time they slap a guy, they go unconscious.
They do. Yeah, that's really bad. And it's like it's interesting to see and all that. And it's pretty scary to see all those dudes just
It's
getting
Dude, it's so
smacked. Like,
jarring. I can't even watch it because it's just
it's
anytime I
tough.
watch anyone go out cold and then they seize up, it's
Yeah.
neurological damage, and it's just I just don't because I know it's going to lead to suicidality and homicidality, and I just don't want it.
I know.
Oh, the
That's
slap
where we're
boxing
at,
is
man.
intense, and so Rocco, oof, he's this
Rocky.
character.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would be scared for his kids and his wife and himself moving forward. As you've seen in
Yeah.
Demarius Thomas last summer, that was
Mhm.
found dead in a hotel. Vincent Jackson found dead, right from massive CTE.
Mhm.
It's scary, man. Antonio Brown coming out last week and saying it was like these certain players that hit him. Jerome Harrison,
Yeah.
like CTE's scary, man. The wrestlers,
Yeah.
yes.
There's a
So,
lot of people that have suffered from those, and a lot of unnecessary things that shouldn't have happened.
yep, yep.
So,
And so I bring it up because it mimics bipolar like symptoms and impulsivity, anger. It deregulates your ability to handle your emotions that's in your midbrain in your central nervous system because you're no longer
right.
operating with the front of your brain, your prefrontal cortex that actually helps you think because that's
Mhm.
been pretty much turned into mush.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're just acting off impulses. It's kind of like Ben Gordon. He doesn't have CTE, but Ben Gordon was one of my favorite basketball players when I was in high school.
Mhm.
uh, because what he did on the Bulls against the Celtics in the playoffs one year, and then we end up signing him the next year. But then his mood was so off and deregulated. I also think he's on the spectrum. Different story for a different day. But like
Mhm.
now he's like beating up his child in public and like naked and like it's just intense.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And bipolar untreated is degenerative, gets worse. CTE, there is not much treatment. It is degenerative and it will get worse.
Mhm.
Uh, so random thing about Rocco,
Yeah.
the scene literally just made me so sad, man. I just felt so bad for him. Before last time I was mad at Mick because I'm like, Mick's a piece of shit. And now I'm just like, Rocco, you need a hug, bro.
Yeah. At least at the end of the movie, he's just happy and he's like, I'm retired. And then next movie, he's out of retirement.
Yeah. 10 movies later.
I know, right? So many movies. It's like when you will retire, you're
Yeah.
so old.
Yeah.
Rock, please.
It's like Tom Brady and like Brett Favre put together.
Oh
I'm
my
retired. I'm not
gosh.
retired. I'm retired. I'm not retired.
We'll see. We'll see what happens as
See what
he's like on a walker, just like, I'll get out there. I'll fight him.
There was that one boxing movie where it was Robert De Niro and someone where they're like old as dirt and they fight.
Yeah, it was him. It was Stallone.
Was it?
I think so.
Oh my
Yeah, it
god.
was the like the rematch or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And it was Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro. First of all, I think Robert De Niro is a couple years older than Stallone. Pretty sure.
Oh my god, it was. It's called Grudge
Yeah.
Match.
Oh, grudge match. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. De Niro looked pretty good in that one.
Yeah. I don't think he can mess with Stallone though.
No.
Stallone.
But yeah, Stallone looks like he didn't work out for like a couple of years before that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, I'm gonna put down the weight so I can match up with De
Yeah, so I
Niro.
can match up with Robert. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I love both of these scenes. We are gonna chop up some reels of random funny things. I'll probably get that. I'll get to that next week because I'm just gonna be chilling on vacation at Colin's house, and I'll just be recording stuff because I won't be at work. But
Awesome.
Rocky, it's really good. I look forward to doing number 2 and talking about learning disabilities a little bit more in depth and maybe my experience a little bit more. And then I'm sure we'll probably grab something from maybe Creed, like the new version of Creed, because that's all coming out. So we'll probably do one of Creed as well. And then I still want to do Southpaw. And then me and you talked about
Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man and $1 Million Baby. So there's some
$1 Million Baby is a tough one, man. That's just all sad.
It's all sad, but hey, we're a mental health podcast.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So we're going to be signing out today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, follow button, all of the above. Subscribe. I'm Spencer. That's Nazir. This is the Different Spectrums podcast.
Much love,
Bye.
everyone. Peace.
Peace.